Welcome to eTeacher Plus for Pakistan. eTeacher Plus for Pakistan is a program that provides professional development opportunities to English language teachers and learners across the country. These virtual programs are offered through global online courses, massive open online courses, webinar series, and alumni engagement activities. The program is funded by the Regional English Language Office at the US Embassy Islamabad and in Pakistan is administered by Evolution. If you wish to stay updated with eTeacher programming in Pakistan, please follow Relo Pakistan on Facebook and visit www.evolution.com.pk/eteacher. Under the eTeacher Plus for Pakistan, eTeacher webinar series has been launched to provide a platform to our alumni to disseminate the learning to the wider audience. Today, as a part of eTeacher Pakistan webinar series, we will be talking about online teaching, effective evaluation and assessment strategies. To present on this topic, we have with us today Dr. Mohammad Kamal Khan, who is the Assistant Professor of English and Applied Linguistics at Allama Iqbal Open University, Islamabad. He has his first degree in English language and literature with a postgraduate diploma in English language teaching, an MPhil in Applied Linguistics, and a doctorate in English with specialization in theoretical linguistics. His research areas are ELT, teacher training, and a socio-phonetics of Pakistani English. Recently, he is working with an initiative, Pak Tisol, which is sponsored by the Regional English Language Office at the US Embassy Islamabad. If you wish to gain more information about Pak Tisol and know how to become a member of a Pakistani ELT community, please visit the following links which are shown on your screen. So let's talk about today's webinar. Today's webinar will be focused on online teaching and learning and how it is different from traditional classroom teaching and learning. In addition to that, Dr. Kamal is going to talk to you about some of the strategies which are very effective for online assessment and evaluation using digital tools.
Assalamu alaikum and hi everyone. I welcome you all to this session. I hope you are safe, you're happy, you're healthy, and you're comfortable. My name is Mohammad Kamal Khan, and I would be talking about online teaching, effective evaluation and assessment strategies. In the first part of my talk, I would be highlighting the basic concepts, the basic philosophy of online teaching, that how it is different from face-to-face traditional classroom. And in the second part of my talk, I would be highlighting some of the tools, some of the techniques which are really important and which could be used by online teachers. So this is, my plan for the talk. Before I jump into my topic, let me express my very sincere thanks to RELO, Regional English Language Office at the US Embassy Islamabad, for their generous support, for their, creating this opportunity for Pakistani English language teachers to conduct webinars and share their ideas with the ELT community. So this is basically my slideshow. It's my topic, online teaching, effective evaluation and assessment strategies. As I said, that the agenda of my talk is that I would highlight that how online teaching is important, what is important about online teaching, and then what's the philosophy of online teaching, how could it be completely viewed, and how could it be fully understood by teachers. And then, of course, assessing online, that how assessing online is different, and how could it be done differently. While doing that, I would like to introduce you to some of the tools, some of the strategies for assessing online. For example, LMS, ePortfolio, Google Docs, Zoom, and rubrics, because rubrics are really important. And I would introduce you to some of the websites which are really important, which could, facilitate you amazingly as a teacher. And then at the end, we could also have a very brief opportunity to think about, getting it right and getting it done rightly, right? So this is my outline. Let me just take you to online teaching and then what is important. If you just remember, in recent years in our country, in Pakistan, this online teaching was not really welcomed. There was a massive resistance against online teaching. And it wasn't only about Pakistan, even internationally, online online teaching was not really welcome, and it wasn't, considered very, very prestigious. And there were so many reasons. Okay, but in the recent teaching scenario, the new scenario, which is due to COVID-19, the teaching context is now completely changed, right? I remember that a few years before, the Higher Education Pakistan, they actually stopped the, the Quality Assurance Agency of the Higher Education Commission of Pakistan. They stopped some of the degree programs of a few very prestigious universities of this country because they thought that there was a kind of observation of on the quality assurance part of the degree programs, right? So they stopped those universities, and only 2 universities in Pakistan were mandated with the online and distance education. The Virtual University of Pakistan and Allama Iqbal Open University, which is my own university, right? So they were coming up with so many apprehensions and so many observations. But now in the current situation, the context is completely changed. We have now only one way of continuing our educational programs, and that's online, right? So now, without any exception, all universities are turning into online, universities. And this new trend, this new teaching context, is actually created a lot of new challenges. There are challenges which are related to the universities at institutional level, and of course there are challenges which are related to teachers and students at individual level. For example, the question of quality assurance is basically regarding the application of and the following of a particular online and distance learning quality assurance framework. There are a few in the in the market. There are associations for quality assurance in online and distance education. They are taking care of that, and now the universities are required to go for a proper quality assurance mechanisms, quality assurance systems, which are there, and the universities are bound to think about them. But at the same time, there are challenges which are really important for teachers and students. Teachers are now required to be more creative because they are using their techniques, and they are teaching online. So they are required to create a proper material for their teaching. And it's not the question of copying and pasting, but teachers are required to be more creative. They are required to be properly trained for material production, right? So teachers are, they are challenged, and of course, technology itself is a huge challenge for teachers. And it's not only for teachers, but for students as well. I've seen teachers struggling with technology, and most of the time we all are struggling, by the way, because and students, of course, they seem to be very engaged, very interested, right? But from the inside, they are also confused. They are frightened because they have very little time with them, very less time with them, and they have to take a lot of classes, and they are sweeping a lot. So technology is, of course, a huge challenge. And at the same time, when we are to use technology for effective assessment and evaluation, and we are to handle those issues related to assessment and evaluation, we are required to take extra challenge and to go an extra mile. So we need to understand that the new teaching situation, the new teaching context is purely based on online teaching. And there are a few things which are quite important. So in this perspective, let me just highlight the basic philosophy of online teaching very briefly here. And I would introduce the concept of the community of inquiry here. Community of inquiry is based on 3 elements, and these 3 elements are basically starting with the social presence, and then cognitive presence, and teaching presence. And this framework, on the community of inquiry, it is a framework basically. This framework is actually, a model which is based on the idea of learning together, right? So we are sharing this feeling of learning together, and this framework or model basically it actually requires uh, from the new roles of teachers, because in online teaching there is a new role for the teachers. So from the new role of teachers, they require that teachers are capable of two things. Number first, teachers are capable of having and using the skills beyond their specific subject area, right? And those skills are related to technology, right? So they are using technological tools. That's the requirement number one from teachers, right? So they are capable of using technological tools in their own context. And the second requirement from teachers is that they have this pedagogical practice, and they could do it. They could just continue with the learning, teaching and learning, activities, right? So the pedagogical practices are important, and the technological tools are really important, right? So in this framework, the community of inquiry, we are required to understand three elements. Number one is social presence. The social presence is basically the ability of teachers to communicate and to create this presence on the basis of their communication, that they are socially present. They can express these feelings of togetherness, and it's really important, because while we are using technology, we are required to create this atmosphere where we can create social presence, right, on the basis of the communication and effective communication strategies. And we are also creating this togetherness in the class, right? So students are not actually feeling that they are alone. They are expressing themselves whenever they are confused, whenever they have problems, whenever they just experience something new, and they are reluctant to use the new tool, the new technology. So we are required to create this social presence in our online classroom. And the second presence is basically about cognitive presence. And cognitive presence is actually the ability of the constructing and the confirmation of meaning, right? That the meanings are communicated, and the learning is taking place in a very meaningful way. So cognitively, things are taken, they are shown, they are actually created in such a way that they are meaningful. They are, constructed, they are created in a very meaningful way. And this process of the cognitive presence is basically based on four stages. It's a four-stage process, right? Number first, that the students, the stakeholders, they actually respond to the initial trigger. Whenever there is a new idea, a new concept, they can respond to it. Number second, that they accept the new idea or the new knowledge, right? The new trigger, they accept it. So this acceptance is there. And the third thing is that they could integrate, they could relate their new knowledge, their new meanings with the previous one, right? So this integration is really important. And the last step is that they could use the new knowledge, the new idea, the new trigger for resolving their issues and their learning problems, okay? So this cognitive presence is the second element of the philosophy of online teaching. And the third one is teaching presence. Teaching presence is basically about the the designing and facilitation of teaching on the part of teachers, that they can create direct instructions, and whatever they communicate for instructions, they are properly based on learning objectives. So whatever activities are there, whatever communication is there, whatever kind of facilitation is there, it is designed purely on the basis of learning objectives. So when these three elements are there, and you can create them on the basis of technology, you can be very active, very effective part of the community of inquiry. And remember that we are using technology, and it's the part of the philosophy of online teaching that technology is integrated in education for 6 main purposes, main uses. Number one, for communication. Of course, we are using tools for communication. Like we might be using video conferencing tools, we might be using any platform for chatting, or the point is, actually the aim is that we must be able to communicate irrespective of the geographical boundaries, beyond the geographical boundaries. So technology must be used for communication. Number second is search. Technology is used for searching the knowledge, for libraries, databases, and technology is not only used for resources search, but this is also used for making sure that whatever sources are you using, they could be cross-checked, they are reliable, and they are valid. That technology is used to collaborate. This collaboration is really important because we are at times required to share documents. That could be like text or syllabi or outlines, right? Or that could be like a video text or a clip of the movie or anything which is the part of your learning. So we might be using clouds, Google Docs, or whatever platform we are using. They are properly used in order to collaborate. Teachers might be providing feedback. Students might be discussing among groups because they are supposed to collaborate, right? So the technology is used for creating new tools, teaching techniques, teaching tools. Like for example, teachers might be using multimedia tools, right? So they are using technology to create, okay? And like for example, infographics or creating and utilizing their high order thinking skills, right? So this creation of technology, this use of technology for creation is really important. And then the technology is used for assessing, the learning processes and for evaluation, right? So that you could customize, you could revise, and you could share. It's not only the assessment of the learning objectives. Like it's not only assessment is the part of examination, but it is the assessment of the process as well. That whether it was an effective process, any activity which was used was effective enough to be repeated in the class again, or is there any customization required? So this assessing is really important, and that's also one of the use of technology in education. The sixth use of technology in education is that the technology is used to develop, right? So teachers are professionally developed. They are using technology for networking. They are using technology for sharing resources, and that's the part of their professional development. So technology must be used for these 6 purposes in online teaching, and that's also the part of the philosophy of online teaching. And when we know this application of technology for these purposes, we would be able to use technology for assessing effectively in online teaching, right? So assessing online is totally a different thing. And as we discussed, that online teaching is bringing in a lot of challenges. We must also know that what are those challenges and what's the role of teachers in this new challenge. Okay, so the roles are, of course, they are changing when it comes to online teaching. Students have bigger roles because they might be doing things inclusively. They might be doing a lot of things independently. So they must be independent learners. Okay, so their roles are changed. There is a lot of massive material available, right? So the massive material, like what to explore, what is related to their activities and what not, and of course there are collaborative activities, and that's also the part of learning and assessing online. So when it comes to assessing online, students have bigger responsibilities. Students might be required to record themselves and share for their teachers, right? And they might also be required to consult some of the material. And based on that material and resources, they might be required to complete assignments. And in group works, of course, they are required to collaborate with their colleagues, with their group members, and of course with their teachers. So the role is changed for students, and also it is changed for teachers as well, right? So assessment online is different in nature. Remember that this is not assessment which is done in a face-to-face traditional classroom. Assessing online is based on collaborative activities. Students are collaborating with each other. They might be using Zoom, like right now I'm using Zoom, right? They might be doing inclusively. They might be using 2 cameras at a time. And online assessment is also most of the time formative assessment, because we need to know that how the learning process is taking place, how effective it is, and how could it be made more effectively, how could it be customized according to our individual needs. It's reflective. We are required to know the reflection of students, that how did they feel about any activity which we conducted last time. And it's a continued assessment, because we need to work further on the first step. It could be in steps, in stages. So it's a kind of continued assessment. And it could also be embedded, because we are required to embed activities and work together. And it's related to learning. So it is learning for the students, because they are assessed using technology. And it is also autonomous, because students are required to work autonomously at times, right? So assessing online is also autonomous, and it is not the traditional face-to-face classroom assessment. It is online assessment, right? So when the tools and the strategies for assessing online are used, we could, understand this different nature of assessing online. And when we just understand these features of assessing online, we would then be able to create assessment and evaluation activities in our classroom more effectively. So let me just now introduce you to some of the tools, some of the techniques which are used for assessing online. Number first, using this in my class, and I would like to introduce this technology to you. This is called Screencast-O-Matic technology, and it's a kind of technology which is featured on the basis of sharing your screen of the computer or your mobile or your laptop. You are able to share your screen with your students to whom you are providing your feedback, right? So this is an ideal tool for providing feedback, because you could use your audio, your voice, and remember that as a teacher, your voice is really important for your students to listen to. And then also your video, because your video, you can demonstrate something in the video. You can also share your screen, your text as your feedback. So that is something which is really important. You can simply go to the website of Screencast-O-Matic, and you would be allowed to use this technology free of cost. Even there is no signing in required, right? And that's an amazing tool which could be used for providing feedback and input to your students, right? The second tool, which is quite effectively used in assessment and evaluation, is ePortfolio. This is a kind of website development, just similar to website development. The students are required to showcase their artifacts at the end of their semester. It might be at the end of the year or even at the end of the program. So from the very beginning, you as a teacher, you tell your students that, okay, you would be required to just showcase your items and these points on your ePortfolio. So they would be establishing, they would be just developing their ePortfolio, showing their just those artifacts, like a book review, might be an assignment, might be their kind of recording. So you would be as a teacher, you would be asking them to to share anything recorded, anything, in the shape of text, right? It could be audio or video or any design or any program. It could be used in any subject area, right? And the students would be showcasing it on their e-portfolio, where you can assign some other students to evaluate and to provide their feedback. And that could also be sent to any external examiner. So it's again a wonderful platform to use for online assessment and online evaluation. There are, of course, some of the platforms which you as a teacher could use, like the Google Classroom and also MS Team and Folio Tech. They are some of the platforms which you could use for creating e-portfolio. And we can also have tools and techniques like Google Doc, Google Forms, and Google Classroom. There are techniques which are available there. The students could just use them for their research purposes as well. And you as a teacher, you could just create in Google Form, for example, if you could just go to Google Form, you can create quizzes there. And those quizzes are, amazing resource for teachers. You would be creating the quiz with the option. It could be like MCQ quiz, and then you would be able to mark them automatically without papers and without, the pen and pencil. Just you would be using them single clicks, and you would be having the grades of the students ready. So I think as a teacher, and particularly as an online teacher, you must know how to use Google Docs. Google Docs are wonderful things to be used for group learning. When you are assigning a topic to the students in groups, they could work remotely from various spaces, and they could just edit one single document as different stakeholders, as different authors, right? So if they are writing an assignment and they have been given different parts, different sections are assigned to them. Like student A is working on introduction, student B is working on a literature review or the main body of the essay, and the third student is working on conclusion. You could simply just use them, and you would be able to do that for particular group works. So Google Doc is something which is really an important tool and which could be used for evaluation and assessment online. Okay. Next, we have another wonderful resource, wonderful tool which could be used for exam system for online assessment and evaluation, and that is Zoom. Like right now, I'm recording on Zoom. Zoom is basically a great resource. It could be used while the students are doing presentations. They could just very simply record themselves and share with you as a teacher. And you can then create a rubric for the assessment and evaluation of the online presentation. And other than presentation, it could also be used for online exam system. Like there is one, and I've heard of it, uProctor. I think that's also one tool which could be used for a cheating-proof exam system. And this Zoom could be ideally used for any paper-based exam as well. Even if you can fix two cameras, one is recorded and the other is actually recording the student. So that could also be one of the possibility. But teachers should explore Zoom as a great tool for online assessment and evaluation. And other than these very important tools and techniques, of course, these are required to be discussed in detail individually, separately, and you can explore because online resources are always available to know each of them and to use them in your classroom. But I should also introduce you to some of the rubrics which you can use as assessment tools. There are websites which could be used for specific assessment systems for specific teaching approaches, like the one which I'm using right now, RubyStar. It is rubystar.forteachers.org, and you can further explore. And it is based on rubrics you can create out of this website, and you can customize some of the earlier existing rubrics. And if you are using a particular teaching methodology like project-based learning, you should also explore this website, a PBL checklist for teachers, which could be, used for assessment and evaluation in your classroom. So the rubrics are wonderful tools. You can use them, you can customize them, and you can create new. So these are the shared platforms which could be properly used. Okay, so this is my last slide. So you can just now think about your own individual teaching context. And here the question is that getting it right in your own, teaching situation. The point is that you could and you should properly focus on your students' learning objectives, right? You must be able to link all these, techniques and tools to your own, very idiosyncratic classroom. That what are the needs of the learners, and what do really you want to evaluate at the end of the, academic session. So you must be able to link up these tools and techniques to your own classroom teaching. And then you must be able to properly think about these tools which we discussed, and then to select that which tool is really applicable in your classroom, and what strategies could you use for assessing and evaluating online, right? So what strategy would you use, and which tool would you apply for your assessment and evaluation? Think well and plan well before you use any strategy, right? And you can also think about some of the strategies, like there is one which is called Study Buddy. Study Buddy is basically that you link two students, for example, they are buddies to each other, and they provide feedback on each other's work, and they could also check assignments, and they could also work together, group together. So as a teacher, you must also be knowing those, group dynamics and those, team dynamics for assessment and evaluation online. And as a teacher, as a psychologist, you must also be able to think about some of those approaches, some of those strategies, which are based on technology, but which are not really the part of your, classroom activities. But you could make them, and you can use them in terms of incentives, right? So on the basis of technology, you are using those incentivizations, like you might be giving medals and badges to some of the students in particular groups, so that they are more motivated, so that they are working effectively and actively. So you could also use them, and you can customize, and you can allow them to happen in your class, because there are websites you can explore that giving medals or awarding medals online or awarding badges online. So you can just simply explore them, and there are various websites which offer you how could you provide medals. So when for example in a WhatsApp group or in a Facebook group you are giving medals to students, some of them would win them, and they would be highly motivated. There would be a kind of very positive competition in your class. So you can think about those strategies in your class as well. And remember that you must focus on the reflection of your students, and also your own reflection regarding your self-evaluation for students, as well as self-evaluation for you as a teacher. That is really important. So as a teacher, you must optimize your teaching, learning, and assessing. And that's really an important point for the teachers to consider, because we would be able to assess online and evaluate online effectively. So thank you so much, guys. It was a wonderful session talking to you, and we hope to get together somewhere in future once again. Thank you so much and goodbye.
Thank you, Dr. Kamal, for your valuable session. I'm sure our audience will be going well equipped with how they can enhance their online assessment and evaluation techniques. If you are eTeacher alumni and would like to be part of this eTeacher webinar series, please write us on eteacher@evolution.com.pk to show your interest to present in this initiative. In addition to that, if you have comments, questions, and or suggestions, please write us on eteacher@evolution.com.pk also. We wish you happy teaching and happy learning.